as someone who's a fan of both European football and American sports, I couldn't help but notice there's a lot of differences between the two. One of them being the playoff system, whether it be the drama, the stakes, the unpredictability. I love a bit of playoff action, but that doesn't really happen over in Europe. It's just kind of, you have cup competitions, you have not competition in the Champions League, but as far as the league goes, it just kind of, whoever's on top at the end of the season wins it all. So today, we're going to be seeing what happens if instead they did a playoff format, and this is my second time recording this video because I forgot to turn the mic on last time. So what American sports do is they're divided into conferences, for those that don't know, and you have a playoff for each conference. Whoever wins each conference play each other in the finals. So what I've done is I've divided up the North and the South for England for the Premier League. And is Ipswich in the North? Is Leicester in the North? Are Wolves and Aston Villa and Nottingham Forest North? Probably not. But are there significantly more teams in the South due to pretty much half the teams in the Premier League being in London? Yes. So the borders are a little grey, a bit of a grey area, but that's kind of how it is in America. Milwaukee and Indiana are smack bang in the middle of America, but they're still in the Eastern Conference. So, yeah, that's a bit of added realism for you. So what I've done is taken the top 8 team of each conference, which pretty much means the 3 relegation teams in Spurs will not be partaking. But that's the magic of the playoffs. Everyone has a chance. First up, the Northern Conference, we've got Liverpool versus Wolves in the first round. It's going to be 2 legs for each matchup. All right, so the home team's going to get home field advantage for the first leg, just a kind of a rule of thumb. And Liverpool will be taking the first one 3-0. Second leg, we head to the Molineux. Okay, so Liverpool go through an aggregate 5-3, but Wolves gave them a run for their money, so we already got some interesting stuff going on in the first round here. Alright, the first matchup in the South, we got Arsenal versus West Ham, and okay, so I'm not going to look at the penalties because it's a 2-legged affair. So the first leg is 3-3, level pegging, going into the clash at London Stadium. Basically what I'm doing is using this thing called Match Simulator, which I've developed a slight addiction to in the past couple of days. And what we're doing is we're just doing quick matches. I feel like that's the most fair way to do it. So let's see, 3-3 aggregate score, back to square one. But will West Ham get that edge at home? They won't. Arsenal will go through on a 5-3 scoreline. The first time I did this, West Ham made the finals, like of the whole thing. Like they won the whole Southern Conference. So yeah, maybe I thought they had a bit of extra fight in them, but no, maybe that's a one-off. Next up, we have the 4th seed Aston Villa versus a 5th seed Nottingham Forest. Very northern battle here. Technically is the Northern Conference. And Aston Villa will be taking this one. So alright, we got the higher seed with a 2-1 win, but still all to play for in the second leg. My mate Jack's a Forest fan. He goes to quite a few of the games. So maybe he's at this one if it were actually real. And okay, so let's do some math real quick. Alright, so it's level and aggregate 4-4, which means we're going to do a replay. That's how I've decided the best way to decide tiebreaker. I can't talk. Alright, so 2 games have been played, 180 minutes of football plus injury time. None of that matters. It all comes down to this. We're going back to Villa Park, back to Birmingham. Let's see. Okay, and Villa win it quite convincingly. So that's an aggregate score of 7-4 over 3 legs. A bit like me, 3 legs. Head down to the Southern Conference with the 4th seed Bournemouth versus a 5th seed Brentford. Alright, so Bournemouth take the first leg at home, but they have to go up to London. It's all to play for with a 1-0 lead. That is not much against Thomas Frank's Brentford, because Thomas Frank is still the manager of Brentford in this sim. I think so, at least. Will Bournemouth hold on to or capitalize on their advantage? Okay, we're going to another replay. Brentford getting that 1-0 win. We're headed back down to the South Coast, back to the Vitality Stadium, and we'll be playing it out. Alright, Brentford will be winning and quite convincingly. I mean, that is, it's only 1 seed apart, and also, I feel like Brentford are the favorite, even though they're lowest seed, so who knows, Brighton Fulham next, anything can happen there. Alright, we're the 3rd seed Newcastle versus 6th seed Everton. And Newcastle in the first one, quite convincingly, but they still go to Goodison Park, so see what happens there. Alright, so everything went back, but in the end, Newcastle will be going through with a 5-1 aggregate score. So we head back down south, where the 3rd seed Brighton will be taking on the 6th seed Fulham. Alright, so Brighton will take the first leg and quite convincingly 6-0 against Fulham. And the return leg will be level, went to penalties, but that doesn't matter. Brighton will be going through on a 7-1 aggregate score. Right, next up we have a Manchester derby with the 2nd seed Man City playing the 7th seed Man United. I kind of wish they could both lose, but that is not an option, so we're just going to have to play it out and hope for the worst. Alright, Man City 3-0. Not very surprising, but again, who knows with the City we're seeing these days. United have the work cut out for them, headed down to Old Trafford. And alright, so Man City will be going through on a 5-1 aggregate score. Right now, with the 2nd seed Chelsea, they're facing the 7th seed Crystal Palace, and you may think Chelsea are the favourites this one, but Man City probably thought they were the favourites for the FA Cup final, and we saw that turned out. So this should be an intriguing one. Okay, so Chelsea do come out on top, but by a 1-0 scoreline, and they still have to go to a little place called Selhurst Park. So all to play for as we enter the 2nd leg here. What did I say? Palace only got and bloody done it. 3-1. To the Eagles, as aside from South London, we're going on to the Southern Conference semi-finals. Alright, now the 1st seed Liverpool and 4th seed Aston Villa will be facing off in the first matchup of the of the Northern Conference, because that's a thing that definitely exists in the real world. The Northern Conference semi-finals. Alright, we have a 1-1 draw as we go into the return leg. This could go either way. I mean, I obviously gotta back my boys, but playoffs, baby. Anything can happen. Head down to Birmingham, down to Villa Park, and Aston Villa will go through. Liverpool, the defending champions of the Premier League, the actual champions in this sim, because it's theoretical, have gone out in the 2nd round of the playoffs. That's what I get for wearing a Philly hat with a Liverpool shirt. I'm not sure what I expected other than a 2nd round exit, but yeah, Aston Villa go through on an aggregate score 3-2. Alright, we now have the Ivan Toney derby as we head down to the south, as Arsenal will be taking on Brentford. Alright, so Arsenal win the first leg, and quite convincingly. Brentford have a task and a half ahead of them going to the 2nd leg here at the G-Tech Community Stadium. A stadium I go by on the train quite often when I'm in Stanmore. Fun fact. Alright, and Brentford pull it back, but it's not enough, as Arsenal will be going through on a 6-2 aggregate scoreline. Alright, now the 2nd seed Man City will be playing the 3rd seed Newcastle. This is where it gets real interesting here. Maybe not as interesting as I thought, as Man City win quite convincingly 4-1, but they still have to go down to St. James's Park, which is no easy away day for any player, fan, or manager. Here we go, while Newcastle comes back from a 3-goal deficit. They will not. Man City will go through on a 6-2 aggregate scoreline. Now we have, things are getting spicy. We have a little bit, some derby action going on, as the 3rd seed Brighton will be taking on the 7th seed Crystal Palace. So Palace take the first leg, but it is very tight as we go back to Selhurst Park. Let's see, will Palace hold on and take advantage of their 1-goal lead? They will. 6-2 to the Eagles as they'll go on to the Southern Conference Finals. Alright, first up we got the Northern Conference Finals, to the 2nd seed Man City taking on the 4th seed Aston Villa. Alright, so Man City with another 4-1 win to start things off, as Villa have their work cut out for them as they go into the home leg. Will Villa pull off the miraculous, the incredible? Let's see. They will not. And Man City will go through to the finals with a 9-2 deficit. So Man City will be representing the Northern Conference in the 2025 Premier League Finals. But who will be joining them? Will it be Arsenal, or will it be Crystal Palace? Alright, so now we have a well-accomplished, silverware-winning, fun team to watch versus a team that haven't won a trophy in 5 years. Of course, we're talking about Crystal Palace versus Arsenal at the Emirates for a spot in the Premier League Finals. In Arsenal in the first leg, 4-0. Not really, I mean, it is a 2nd leg against the 7th, but I don't know, I thought maybe Palace might have a little more fight in them. Maybe they can pull something on special at home. I doubt it. I really do. But Yeah, okay, so it looks like Arsenal will be going through on a 6-2 aggregate score. Who could have predicted this? The first seed versus second seed. Technically first. It's like technically second and third overall. But, yeah. Arsenal will be facing Man City in the Premier League finals. It'll be same rules as before, a two-legged affair if needed. There'll be a tiebreaker replay leg, but we'll see first. Yeah, so the first time I recorded this, every single matchup on the south side of the bracket was an upset. So West Ham beat Arsenal, Brentford beat Bournemouth, Fulham beat Brighton, Palace beat Chelsea, then Palace beat Fulham. And then, yeah, it's like I said, every single matchup was an upset, and West Ham lost to Liverpool in the final, so up the Reds. But yeah, let's see how this turns out. Maybe Arsenal and Man City aren't cooked. Maybe they just needed a playoff system. Who knows? Maybe we really didn't deserve to win the league title. Maybe the Premier League is weak, even though the 9th place team are selling their players to Real Madrid and PSG. But maybe this is what football Twitter is on about. Maybe they were onto something. Maybe I was too harsh on United Trey. First leg at the Emirates, and Arsenal with a very convincing 4-1. Arteta getting his revenge on his master, but does Man City have something up their sleeve for the red side of North London? And we will be watching this one. I feel like we should have probably watched the first one, but it's okay. We all make mistakes. Man City must overcome a deficit of 3 goals as we advance into the second leg of the Premier League finals. Oh, and Arsenal have opened the scoring. A strike from Thomas Partey in the 32nd minute. Should he be in prison? Maybe. Has he scored? Yes. Arsenal strike again, this time from Gabriel Martinelli in the 51st minute, as Arsenal go up to a 6-1 aggregate scoreline. I regret doing this entire video. Like, we can't let Arsenal fans have this. Like, I know it's just a sim. In any other fan base, alright, looks like Savino's pulling back. In any other fan base, you'd think, like, surely they have enough self-respect to not use, like, a sim game on a YouTube channel that no one watches as, like, merit in a football-related argument. But Arsenal fans are a different breed. I might not post this. If you're watching this, it means I got really desperate and posted it because I had no better ideas, but okay, I guess Arsenal are Premier League champions. Not a sentence I wanted to say. I really wish I turned my mic on the first time around. This is what I get. I deserve this. So, yeah, hope you enjoyed watching. You probably did, if you still are. I'm off on a whim there and say it. Off on a whim or off on a limb? Let me know in the comments. See you next time.